On the scene, on the story, this is News 9.
An Oklahoma couple who struggled with infertility for years is now a family of 6 thanks to embryo adoption.
Yeah, the practice has been around since the 90s, but the number of births has doubled in the last 5 years. And for this couple, 3 of their children were frozen for 8 years before their birth.
It's such a roller coaster of emotions.
Melissa Smart and her husband Tom struggled to start a family for years.
It definitely toughens you up.
Until they discovered embryo adoption.
First I thought, what is this? Does it make any sense? How is this even possible? Is it even ethical?
That sounds like a sci-fi movie or something. I was like, absolutely not.
There's always that echo in the back of your head is, are we playing God?
After a lot of soul searching, they decided it was out of their hands.
If God wanted us to have children through this process, he would allow it.
And he did. Meet Addie.
What's my present?
Your present is me.
That present didn't come quickly. They transferred 2 embryos, but she didn't get pregnant. Then doctors transferred 3 more, including Addie, who had been frozen in time for 5 years.
Good job, Addie. 2
years later, Tom and Melissa went back to the National Embryo Donation Center in Knoxville, Tennessee, to try again with embryos that were Addie's biological siblings. They got pregnant right away, but lost the baby.
Even now, talking about it, I get emotional, especially since it's my daughter's biological sibling. You know, we had hopes and dreams of that child.
So they adopted 3 more embryos, and when that didn't work,
we're like, let's just foster. We got our foster son, and then the 3rd time we got pregnant with the twins.
Yeah, your dad.
Jonathan and Jeremiah.
We got room for both of them.
Spent 8 years at negative 196 degrees Celsius, frozen in liquid nitrogen.
Twins are pretty common. About a quarter of our births are twins.
Dr. Jeremy Keenan says the center success rate is 45%, and most embryos are frozen in liquid nitrogen for 6 to 10 years.
It's somewhat uncommon for a couple to go through IVF, create embryos, and then release their remaining embryos just a year or 2 later. Usually takes some time, first of all, to realize they don't want to have more children, and then oftentimes it is quite a dilemma for them, and what do I do with these embryos?
They can store them, discard them, or donate them, hoping they find a loving family.
We've always wanted a big family, we just didn't know they'd be so close in age.
The Smarts
1, 2, 3.
admit it can be a handful.
He's right behind you.
I mean, there was a huge adjustment period. We had 1 child for 3 years, and it was a huge adjustment for her as well.
Wait.
All of a sudden having a brother and then having 3 brothers, but now it's just our new normal.
A normal they thank God for every day.
You're taking all of these embryos out of the freezer and giving them a chance at life. It's an amazing journey, and I would do it all over again.
It really is amazing. Embryo adoption costs about $6,000 for the first try and $3,500 for the next.